Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Taisho Alice, and we may question mark get our happy ending for Snow's route in this part, but I don't know, so we'll see. Anyway, we were in Snow White's perspective, listening to his past with Ryoshi after he met Ryoshi. So I gotta get my snow voice on. I'm sorry, my throat's like, I just ate dinner, so like my throat feels like all gunky. That sounds gross. I'm sorry. Anyway, from then on, Ryoshi continued to show up night after night. We talked about all kinds of stuff. He told me he moved out here all by himself to attend college. His parents were doctors and they wanted him to study medicine too. I'm not really fit to be a doctor. I'm not that smart, and I'm not that good with my hands. And you don't like blood either. Right you are. He was uncomfortable with blood, yet he was trying to be a doctor anyway. So why don't you like blood exactly? Ryoshi's like, the fuck? He paused for a moment. I hate the coppery smell, and I hate the color. What, red? It's just kind of gross, you know? Huh. I pictured blood. Bright red blood. Yeah. Evidently he and I had some things in common. Me too. Huh? I hate the color red too. Before I knew it, the word slipped out. This time his voice carried a hint of amusement. Looking up, I realized he was actually smiling for a change. What are you smirking about? You're freaking me out. I'm just not used to hearing you talk about yourself. Ow! I decided to smack him just in case. He was right. I never contributed to the conversation. I only ever listened. Until now, he never really commented on it. But it wasn't because he wasn't interested in me. If he wasn't interested, then he wouldn't bother coming here night after night. That said, he didn't pry or get involved more than absolutely necessary. His motives were a mystery, but still, he struck me as sincere. Just then he plunged a hand into his pocket. Another cigarette? How'd you know? He deftly lit the cigarette like he'd done so many times before. White smoke rose into the air once more. Anyone could have guessed. I had spent the past few nights hanging out with him, and by this point he was fairly predictable. Come to think of it, I'd adapted to the smell of the smoke, too. Meanwhile, he continued to smoke with an apathetic look on his face. He sat in silence, just staring out at the empty sky. And this meant he was thinking about something. Yet another thing I'd learned about him in the short time we'd known each other. So, how come you smoke if you know it's bad for you? Do you want to die? No, I'm not trying to die. It's just... Just what? When I do it, I feel like I'm that much closer to my goal. Huh. I didn't press further. He had his own life, just like I had mine. If he wanted to tell me, he was free to do so, and if not, he could keep it to himself. And that reminds me... Ouch! As he looked up suddenly, the cigarette fell from his lips and grazed his skin. What a klutz. I brought a little gift for you tonight. What is it? Half expecting more candy, I looked at him curiously. Then he pulled a book from his briefcase. Found this when I was cleaning my room. Want it? In other words, he was trying to pawn off his trash. You like books, don't you? Slowly I nodded. I didn't just like books. I loved books. Thank you. The words came to me naturally as I accepted the book. He had given me other gifts in the past, but this was the first time I'd actually thanked him. Be sure to read it when you get home. He seemed pleased with my reaction because he ruffled my hair. Yeah, I know. His hand was warm and I didn't mind the affection. In the end, I was so curious to read my new book that I went home early that night. I'm back. All the lights were off inside the house. And although it was winter, the heater was off, and it was freezing inside. So is mother already dead at this point? Careful not to trip over anything, I navigated my way to the living room, where I found my mother asleep. You'll catch pneumonia, you know. I couldn't let my beloved mother get sick, so I grabbed the blanket off the floor and put it back over her. On the table was an apple pie. Thanks for the food, Mother. Apple pies were my mother's specialty. She used to make them for me all the time, but she stopped having much free time after she started working outside the home. Once I finished my meal, I pulled on my red cloak and moved to the window. Like, is this after? Because, I mean, there's trash all over. So this would be after his mom died, and he's, like, eating the apple pie that's slowly going moldy. Like, this is so fucking traumatically sad. Like, oh, God. Oh, it's kind of horrifying, but sad and tragic. Oh, anyway. I said once I finished my meal, I pulled my red cloak and moved. Okay. We lived deep in the woods, but with a thick blanket of snow reflecting the moonlight, the nights weren't quite so dark. Then it was time to start my new book. If Mother knew I was doing this, would she be upset with me? Or would she be happy? Either way, she had no way of actually finding out, since she was asleep. Sure, asleep. Unlike the fairy tales Mother would often read to me at bedtime, Ryoshi's book was full of intricate human relationships and plot twists. The next day... What? Kid, you're practically skin and bones. Have you been eating at all? Sure, I eat. Here, eat this. He thrust a plastic bag at me. What's in there? Inside I could see sandwiches, rice balls, and a variety of other snacks. You're still a kid, so you need to eat more, otherwise you won't grow up big and strong. Relax, I didn't poison them or anything. I sat there in silence for a moment. Then, as if to reassure me, he reached into the bag, grabbed a sandwich, unwrapped it, and took a bite. Is it good? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. If you want to find out for sure, then have one. No thanks. What, you're not hungry? Nah. I was lying. Truth be told, I was starving. But he couldn't accept his charity, no matter what. Huntsman, do you ever cook for yourself? Nope. Do you have someone else who cooks for you? No, I live on my own. Huh. What about you? My mother always makes apple pies for me. Apple pies, you say? Uh-huh. Before we went home, Ryoshi forced me to take the bag of food. He refused to take no for an answer, and so I carried the whole bag home with me. I'm back. When I arrived at home, I called out into the darkness, and I set my bag down on the kitchen table. It felt like Ryoshi was treating me like a stray cat, a wild animal untamed by human hands. Part of me thought this was pretty rude, but at the same time, I knew he was just trying to be nice. And because of that, I was starting to think it might be okay to eat this food. I pulled a sandwich out of the bag and unwrapped it. It looked extremely appetizing. Then I opened my mouth wide and took a bite. But my body rejected it, and I spat it out on the spot. Is it because he's so used to eating, like, mold? I couldn't remember the last time I successfully ate something. For as long as I could remember, no matter how hungry I got, my stomach rejected all food. I wanted to eat so badly, but I couldn't eat unless my stomach let me. This is why I tried to turn him down. In the mirror, I could see a bony boy staring back at me. You have a sister? Yeah, a younger sister. One day I learned that Ryoshi had a sister. Whoa, I never knew you had a sister. Yeah, because I never mentioned it until now. Huh. He had spoken of his family a fair few times thus far, but this was the first time he mentioned a sister. Something about it felt off to me. You'd think he would have told me about her sooner. Well, what's she like? Is she a grouch like you? After all, Ryoshi had the face of a stone-cold killer. He kind of does. A growl on his face right now. So the chances were high his sister had a grumpy disposition too. However, she's nothing like me. At this, I felt a tiny bit disappointed. So you're saying she's cute? Well, sure, I guess. Certain people like to gush about how adorable she is. Huh. Something about his tone gave me pause, not a pause. Jesus, can't read. He made it sound like the majority of people didn't think she was cute. I decided to dig a little deeper. Does she look different from the other kids? Ryoshi's looks were truly one of a kind. Ash gray hair and icy blue eyes. When he said she was nothing like him, he probably didn't mean physically. Yeah, I'd say so. He replied in a low voice. And in that sense, I guess she is similar to me. We're both a couple of freaks. How so? He paused for a moment. She has two-tone eyes. Her eyes have two colors? Yeah, exactly. Granted, it isn't entirely unheard of. But in her case, her irises have a vertical blue to red gradient. Whoa. I could hear my voice go up an octave. After all, red and blue were contrasting colors. I collected myself, then asked in a calmer voice. Is it a health condition? I didn't mean to be rude, but I couldn't think of a nicer way to ask. Nah, like me, it's simply the way she was born. Her eyesight's fine, so she's really no different from anyone else. You both must really stand out. I think it's kind of interesting because she does have those kind of and it's funny because the way they color Snow White's eyes are purple with a little bit of blue, or and it's always usually a style choice, but I think it's funny that we have our two-tone eyes and it's not quote unquote normal. It's not just the style choice, it's purposeful. You know what I mean? It's it's a style choice, but then they kind of wrote it in. Collar X Malice, right? Everybody had cat kind of eyes, but they weren't oh my god, look at your weird long pupils. You know what I mean? They didn't point it out. It was the style choice for the characters, and everybody kind of did that. And this, yeah, for the main characters, they did the style choice of two-tone eyes, and they've brought it up and mentioned her red and blue eyes, her jewel eyes, but it's, I guess in other routes they really have brought up, oh my god, your jewel eyes are amazing. They're different, But it's kind of funny because now it's well, no, that's really, really fucking different. You know what I mean? It's not just hey, if you have blue eyes and you go to some place where everybody has brown eyes, and they're oh, wow, your blue eyes are different, It's more wow, nobody has blue eyes. That's weird. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. Anyway, I guess it'd be more actual because there are people that have their eyes are blue, but they're they look violet. They're almost fucking purple, and you're that's not normal. That's bizarre. You know what I mean? That's a bizarre thing. It's so uncommon that if you saw someone with purple eyes, you'd be wow, different. Or heterochromia, right? It's kind of, I guess, in this situation, that's what it is. It's wow, that's not something you see every day. Anyway. Yeah, you could say that. We attract attention no matter where we go. Yeah, I bet. With looks like his, anyone would do a double take. City or countryside, it didn't matter. So how old is she? About the same as you. She has really long hair and... He stopped short. His eyes bored into me, and I tilted my head in confusion. What? Come to think of it, you remind me of her. I do? It's not just your appearance either. It's hard to explain. Hey, careful, damn it! Right as I tried to peer into the lake, he grabbed me by the scruff of the neck. I was just looking at the water. I shoved his hand away and looked down again. In the reflection of the water, Ryoshi and I didn't look all that different, unlike me and my mother. So what kind of personality does your sister have? Now that I knew Ryoshi had a sister, I made a point of asking about her every now and then. Her likes and dislikes, The books she read, the things that made her sad. The more I learned about her, the more real she felt, even if she wasn't here. But I quickly hit a dead end. Why? Because Ryoshi didn't know much about her to begin with. And for good reason. When she was almost 10, she moved away with her mother to a different country where Ryoshi moved here by himself. While Ryoshi moved here by himself. They hadn't seen each other in several years. As for why he chose this town specifically, our family owns a summer home out here. We used to come here every year. He made it sound like an afterthought. Apparently his family was loaded. For the first time in my life, I was grateful that the stupid backwoods town was a tourist trap. Otherwise, I never would have met Ryoshi and learned about his sister. Not that I'd ever admit this to Ryoshi directly, of course. So that's her? Yep, that's my sister. Huh. One day, Ryoshi was thoughtful enough to bring a photo of his sister so I could see her. Probably because I kept asking about her all the time. You look a little younger here. Do I? It was a photo of the two siblings together. I looked from younger Ryoshi to current Ryoshi and back again. In the photo, he still had the same icy blue eyes and ash gray hair. Yeah, except you have the same grouchy face. He flicked my forehead. This dude really needs to learn not to hit people just because they said something he didn't like. Then again, I guess that applies to me too. To distract myself, I looked back at the photo. I could see a small girl next to Ryoshi. She looked to be under 10 years old. Her light brown hair looked thick and soft, and she wore ribbons on either side of her head. Her pure white dress suited her doll-like aesthetic. It was my first time seeing her, yet for some reason, she made me think of the past. She really does have strange eyes. Her eyes were unlike anything I'd ever seen. Not like mine, not like Ryoshi's, and of course, not like my mother's. Sorry, I'm adjusting. They had a shine that was all her own. They seemed less red and more pink. I ran a finger over her eyes. Her expression carried a hint of sadness. She's really pretty. It was the honest truth of how I felt. She sparkled like a gem. If my mother saw her, she'd give her a big hug and say, "You look like a princess!" So why do you care so much about me? Or why do you care about me so much? Sorry. Huh? Now you ask me that? I looked up at him. At first I thought you must be pretty bored to hang out with some kid this late at night. But the truth is you have a reason for doing it, right? Not really. He answered briskly, averting his gaze. As usual, he sucked at hiding things. But he seemed to realize I had seen through him, because he hastily shot back. What about you? What do you want to know about my sister, huh? Because she's a fairy tale protagonist. What? Well, okay, that's part of it. But it's not just that. I want to know about her because she's a princess I've never met. What? He repeated his question. This annoyed me. What was his problem? Don't you roll your eyes at me, kid. It's not my fault I don't understand your stupid metaphor. Whatever, you don't have to. I turned my face away. The one time I tried to open up to him, he was too stupid to get it. Is it really that abstract? Immediately after the loud sigh, the chilly wind blew his cigarette smoke in my direction. I don't know if she's a princess, but she's a lot more gifted than I am. She can do just about anything. Her parents really trust her. They spoil her rotten. More than you? Did you choose to come out here and study to be a hunter because you wanted to get away from her? Gotcha. You never really wanted to be a hunter at all, did you? I'm still just an intern. You know, well, not even that, really. He let out a self-deprecating laugh. Okay, like, is hunter, like, they're using that in place of doctor? Because before, like, they always say, like, our family is a family of hunters, hunters. Okay. But you're like, I'm just kind of questioning, like, what does that actually entail job-wise? But then earlier he said doctor. And like, my family wants me to be a doctor. I don't like blah, blah, blah. And now he's like talking about being a hunter again. And it's like, so I'm just like, are these interchangeable terms in this world? Like, Am I the only one that's like slightly like, what about this? Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but it's just one of those curiosity points where you're like, what now? A little confused here, but okay, I guess. Anyway. So basically, you resented your more talented sister for not having to carry on the family legacy because she was a girl. But aren't female hunters pretty common these days? I don't know anything myself, but according to my mother, they definitely existed. I mean, isn't your mom a hunter too? Yep. Well, I think I can understand how you feel. It sucks being constantly compared to someone else. You're your own person, you know? Thanks. For what? Just felt like saying it. Say, Huntsman, if you lost your way, then allow me to give you a hint. What? Let's play a game. What? I said let's play a game. I'll give you a riddle and I want you to solve it. And if I win? I'll tell you my secret. He paused to think for a moment. If I can guess the right answer, will you stop doing this crap? What crap? You know what I'm talking about. Wandering around alone at night. Oh, that. I'll think about it. Don't just think about it. I want you to promise me. Okay, I promise. At this, Ryoshi let out a sigh. Fine, I'll play your little game. You really don't have a life, do you? And neither do you. It's something that doesn't make sense. Something anyone may possess, but the moment you obtain it, it ceases to exist. Anyone can have one. When you open your eyes, it'll vanish without a trace. The hell was that? A riddle. That's the riddle? His face stiffened and I couldn't help but laugh. Well, good luck. I never saw Ryoshi again. I'm just kidding. From that night forward, Ryoshi would ask questions about the riddle. It's something that doesn't make sense. Like this riddle? Something anyone may possess, but the moment you obtain it, it ceases to exist. Anyone can have one, but when you open your eyes, it'll vanish without a trace. You say this is a riddle, but I don't even know where to start. The whole point of a riddle is for you to figure it out yourself. Think about the meaning of the word. Which one? I'm just kidding. When I went home that night, I left him with a disgruntled scowl on his face. The next night... A riddle is a quiz in which a clever wordplay is generally the answer. In which clever wordplay, sorry. Apparently he went and looked into the literal meaning of the word. He may have looked like a delinquent punk, but evidently he was actually a hard worker. I think I get the gist. Basically, you want me to figure out what it is, right? Well, what is it? Yet again he failed to answer. Based on our conversations thus far, I had known he wasn't too well versed in this sort of thing. But I didn't realize he was this dense. It was really killing my fun. Fine, you leave me no choice. I'll give you a little hint. It can mean different things, but it can also mean the same thing. Well, figured it out yet? It can be the same, but different. What? It was the biggest hint I could possibly give him, yet he still didn't quite get it. How could I possibly figure it out from that? God, Huntsman, you're so dumb. He smacked me over the head. You're the one who can't answer a stupid riddle. Seeing as you gave me a book the other day, I had assumed you liked to read. Sulking, I rubbed my head. Sure, I read, but only boring shit like reference books. What about when you were a kid? What did you read back then? I don't remember. Well, try. Is this your way of giving me a hint? Who knows? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Alright, smartass. Once you know the answer, it'll all make sense. If I knew the answer, I wouldn't need your hints. How are you so Ah! He smacked me again. Then the next night... 3 years later... Nope, wrong answer. Ugh. Yet again, Ryoshi had failed to bring me the right answer. You're so dense, Huntsman. I'm not good at this stuff, alright? You're trying too hard. You need to think outside the box. Outside the box, he says. And so the night passed as Ryoshi struggled to solve my riddle. It wasn't exactly exciting, but anything was preferable to the nights I spent here alone. Sorry, I had to adjust my computer. Has your sister ever begged you to read her a bedtime story? Then one night after we talked about the riddle, I asked yet another question about his sister. Another question about my damn sister? Yep, another question. He looked utterly aggravated. To be fair, I had asked him questions about her every single night since he first mentioned her, so I could understand the irritation. I couldn't help it. I needed to ask. Unfortunately, he didn't seem to have figured it out yet. No, she's never asked for that. Like I said, there's an age gap between us, so I haven't really talked to her much. And yet you know that she likes to read. I bet if I asked her the riddle, she would have answered right away. He didn't seem to appreciate the comparison because he scowled slightly. This was a feeling I could relate to painfully hard, because I didn't like being compared to others either. You're a lot like me, Huntsman. You hate the color red, and you've come to resent your fairy tale protagonist. I don't get what you're talking about. And you're quick to lie, too. Sadly, like all good things, our fun times together eventually came to an end. I finally figured it out. One night it finally happened. Something anyone may possess, but the moment you obtain it, it ceases to exist. Anyone can have one, but when you open your eyes, it'll vanish without a trace. The answer is a dream. Correct. Ah! And I finally guessed correctly. Ryoshi heaved a giant sigh of relief and shrank down into a little ball. I'm impressed you finally got it. Thought you never would. Liar. He grumbled up at me. Normally he was always looking down at me, so this made for a nice change of pace. You were giving me hints this whole damn time, weren't you? His voice carried a tiny hint of amusement. I don't know why you had me do this, but a promise is a promise, kid. You better stop coming out here by yourself at night. Huntsman, why do you think a kid like me is out here so late? I couldn't let myself cling to him. What is this, another riddle? Give me a... Because you don't want to be at home, right? Right, just like you. I couldn't let myself ask for his help. If I cared about him at all, I was better off cutting ties entirely. Is it your parents? If they're hurting you or something... No. My voice came out unusually sharp. It's my fault. I disobeyed my mother. She told me not to go outside, but I didn't listen. I'm a bad kid. It's no wonder Mother hates me now. Where's your mom right now? At home? Yeah. And like nobody knowed whatever job she did, nobody noticed she was missing. Like went to find her. You know what I mean? Fine then. Let's go. Ryoshi rose to his feet and offered me his hand. Go where? To your house. I know it's rude to barge into a stranger's home in this day and age, but at this point I can't pretend this doesn't concern me. Yeah, you probably should have obeyed your mother, but for whatever it's worth, I don't think you're a bad kid at all. But what if it turns out I am? I mean, hiding a dead body is kind of fucked up, but it doesn't make you a bad kid. It seriously damaged somehow, but then I'll shoulder the blame right along with you. I rose to my feet without his assistance. Whoever fights with monsters should see to it that he doesn't become a monster in the process. For if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. What? Where did that come from? You don't recognize it? It's a quote from that book you gave me. Come to think of it, that does sound vaguely familiar. So what about it? You're too nice to me, Huntsman. I couldn't drag him down with me. Despite all his nagging, he was a kind person deep down, and if he learned the truth, he'd regret ever speaking to me. Hey, where are you? Come on, Huntsman. It's time for you to receive your prize. I'm going to show you my secret. Welcome to my home. You're the first visitor we've ever had. Why does it... Ugh! As soon as I opened the door, Ryoshi started to gag. No surprise there. I was used to it since I lived here, but for a visitor it was probably a bit too much. After all, the whole house reeked of garbage and decay. I never wanted anyone to have to see this, but a promise was a promise. I'm home, Mother. I brought a friend with me today. As we walked inside, I called out to my mother, sleeping in the living room. Naturally, I would need to introduce her to my new friend. Oh my god, this is like he's so deranged right now. Are you... Ryoshi froze on the spot, his face as white as a sheet. What's wrong? Get over here already. Upon closer inspection, I realized his legs were shaking. No surprise there either. After all, Ryoshi had a weak stomach when it came to this sort of thing. So I really didn't blame him for feeling frightened. Have you lost your mind? His voice trembled. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Huntsman. Hard to lose something I didn't have to begin with. Ever since the day I discovered the truth, I realized that my entire existence was a mistake. Right, Mother? I called out to her as she slept. Naturally, she didn't answer. Is that... Ryoshi struggled to find his voice. This is my mother, my only family. His expression twisted. The way he stared at us, you would think he was looking at some kind of hideous monster. Mother, this is Ryoshi Arisu. Doesn't his name remind you of your favorite fairy tale protagonist? He has a little sister, too. I just know you'd like her. Even I can tell she looks like a princess. Hold on a minute. Ryoshi shouted. Now listen here. That may have been your mother at one point, but not anymore. It's not. You can talk to it all you want, but it won't talk back. Because it's not a person, it's a corpse! At this, I carefully examined my mother. There was no sign of her former beauty beneath all the ugliness. So she's dead, huh? Say, Huntsman, what's death anyway? I mean, sure, she's not beautiful anymore. In my heart, she's still pretty. In my heart, she still loves me. So can you truly say that she's dead? Damn right I can. You may have your memories of her, but without a living body of her own, she's not alive. Huh. I laughed through my nose. Classic Ryoshi. If you need your own body to count as alive, then maybe I'm dead too. What are you even... Just then I spotted the apple pie on the table. Oh, I know. We can share the apple pie Mother made for me. Want some? The pie was her specialty. It's now moldy and gross. But now it was... Stop! Don't do it! I ignored his warning and took a bite. No matter how many times I try, I'll never get used to this taste. With each bite, I fought the urge to puke. But ultimately, my stomach rejected it anyway. This is so like a horror movie. This is like an emotional and mental horror movie. There's no jump scares, there's no monsters, it is just deeply disturbing on so many levels. Tears blurred my vision. Yeah, I guess I can't eat it anymore. After all, the apple pie was as rotten as my mother's corpse. Come with me. The next thing I knew, Ryoshi grabbed me by the arm. Considering how frightened he was, I was surprised he was still trying to protect me. I can't. With a smile, I shook my head. Now do you understand? I lost my sanity a long time ago. The fact that he knows what sanity is and he's like 12. That's not... Who killed Mother? Oh, well, maybe not at this point. You could be a teenager at this point, you know what I mean, I guess? It was me. I killed Mother. The day I disobeyed her and went outside, I came back to find her staring at me with cold, unfeeling eyes. A chill ran down my spine. Then my heart began to pound, and my palms started to sweat. I put a hand on her shoulder and called out to her, but she didn't move a muscle, and her body felt like ice. I couldn't believe it. I refused to believe it. But real life wasn't that merciful. I was weak and powerless to do anything. In the end, Snow White was neither a princess nor a prince. With that in mind, do you still want to help me? You're damn right I do. I don't know what happened here, but like I said earlier, I don't think you're a bad kid. Yeah, you have a foul mouth and an attitude problem. Yeah, you're a fickle little brat. I've never liked kids, and talking to you hasn't changed that. But the more time I spent with you, the more fun I started to have. Why? Because you're a good person who cares about others. Why else? You're always thinking of other people. You care about me, and you even care about the little girl you never even met. You know, I despise our age difference. Come to think... Oh, despite. I was like, what? Despite our age difference, I've come to think of you as a friend. Or like a little brother. I don't know what you've been through, but at the very least, I can hear you out. Heh. Thanks. I think of you as a friend, too. He was the first and only person to acknowledge me as an individual. You said you're not fit to be a hunter, but I think you might be wrong about that. Sure, you're tactless, outspoken, nosy, and utterly dense, but you carry yourself with conviction and a strong sense of compassion. It's not like a hunter's entire job is to look at blood all day, right? Then just... I shook my head and stepped away from him. Sorry to say I'm going to die here. What are you... I picked up a piece of the apple pie on the table. Do you know what this is? It's my poison apple. You know, like in the fairy tale with the princess as white as snow? Surely even you must know that one. She was one of my mother's favorite princesses, and she was my namesake. Then again, I'm a guy, so I can't be a princess. In the fairy tale, the queen transforms into an old hag to give Snow White an apple. When she takes a bite, she falls to the floor and never opens her eyes again. Poor sweet princess. Rejected by her own mother. With one bite, Snow White will cease to exist. And then he ends up in the hospital in like a coma, but he's not actually dead. Like, cease to exist. Ryoshi scoffed. He didn't seem to understand what I meant. Then he took a step forward. Stay back! He froze in place. Come to think of it, this is quite possibly the loudest I'd ever shouted in my entire life. I looked him in the eyes and spoke, my voice perfectly calm. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get our ending in this part. This is for the best. As long as I'm around, everyone who isn't me will be miserable. If I can shoulder the burden of these painful memories so no one else has to, then so be it. Huntsman, thank you for everything. Our time together was short, but I had fun. Thanks to you, I now have some happy memories of my very own. Memories I don't have to share. Oh, and about the cigarettes, I figured it out. You hate smoking, but you do it anyway, so you can have at least one thing in common with your parents, right? You want to prove to the world that you really are their son. Trust me, I can relate. Because I feel the same way. I wanted her to see me as me. Not as a princess or a prince, but as Snow White. Oh, and your sister, Spacey, I wish I could have met her. A princess I never knew. A princess with pretty eyes. Every time Ryoshi told me about her, my curiosity deepened. She was the fairy tale protagonist my mother always wanted. Bye-bye. And with that, I took a bite of the apple pie. The poison coursed through my body and consumed my consciousness. Snow White! Ryoshi screamed my name. No one else had ever called me that. Not even my mother. As I began to black out, his voice slowly faded. Blood made him uncomfortable, yet he approached me nonetheless. I wanted to reach out to him, but I couldn't. My body refused to cooperate. And then everything went dark. And then he ended up in a dream. Where am I? Hey. Huntsman? How's it feel to finally be awake? Where is she? She who? Your sister. Spacey. Ryoshi was like grinning over there. He's like, okay. Oh, good morning, Snow White. Breakfast ready. Are you the real Spacey suit? Yep, in the flesh. That means the Spacey Arisu from my dream is already... Why are you crying? I can't help it. Now that I'm awake, it means she's gone. I know she wasn't real. Or maybe she was partly real. But she's the one I spent all those nights with. So you fell in love with the Spacey in your dream, huh? Yeah. So tell me, you said you always wanted to meet me in person, right? So why didn't you ever summon me as a character in your story? Well, I know you could have. All you would have had to do was turn into the mirror and ask. One can say that a dream is a reproduction or recreation of our memories. In most cases, the people and places that appear in your dreams are taken wholesale from your past. My God! This route makes me feel insane because we keep repeating these things over and over. Like, remember when you said it's like we just say it and it's like, did you ever get that creepy deja vu feeling? And then you flash back to when you said it and you go, did you ever get that creepy deja vu feeling? And flash back to when you said it the time before that. And then it's like a fucking like chain reaction. It just goes on forever. Dreams can't give you knowledge you didn't already have, but they can use your past experiences to create something new, right? I mean, your mom and my brother were there, right? So if you wanted to see me so badly, why was I left out? More than likely, I didn't summon you because I was scared. You were my perfect princess, after all. Sure, I knew about you, but it was only secondhand knowledge. I'd never actually spoken to you, much less seen you in person. Well, here's the weird part. So he's talking to her, and she's like, yeah, so why didn't you have me anyway? I mean, my mom and my brother and your mom and my brother and all these people there. And he's like, how do you know what the fuck was going on in my dream? What? Nothing. Like, we seem a little bit too knowledgeable about the shit that was happening in his dream, is all I'm saying. And he's not questioning that. I'd never actually spoken to you, much less seen you in person. It was a parasocial relationship. I knew you existed somewhere out there, but you were never a direct part of my life. I couldn't be your friend, much less your boyfriend. Well then, what's the harm in being friends with me in your dreams? What's the harm in... Yeah. I couldn't risk it. I didn't want to idolize you. Sure, it would be all too easy to imagine what you would wear or how you would act. And if I did that, then I'd fall in love with the version of you that didn't really exist. At which point, if I ever met the real you, I'd just be disappointed. Funny, isn't it? I was planning to never wake up again. Maybe I was always hoping, deep down, that I'd get the chance to meet you for real. You did it! You met the real, non-idealized Spacey Arisu. Yeah, in my dream. I know you've been calling out to me all this time. That's probably why you showed up in my dream. What did you think of Dream Me, anyhow? At first glance, she seemed mature, but I soon discovered she was a rowdy, chatty tomboy. She was very charming. Do I seem any different from her? Not really, but you don't have the most important thing. What's that? Her memories. It's the one thing she has that you don't. And it was those memories that made me fall for her. But then again, maybe normal people wouldn't count a dream as a memory. What are you laughing about? I'm just happy to hear that you love me. Rest assured, I'm still the same Spacey Arisu you knew. Huh? What do you mean? Yeah, what do we mean? The dream isn't over yet. I thought you were good at riddles. Huntsman. Normally I'm good at them, but my head is a little fuzzy right now. Well, you only just woke up. If I woke up, then... This must be real life, right? It's a dream in a dream. What else could I wake from if not a dream? From the nightmare? What nightmare? Snow White, you've been living in a nightmare all this time. 6 years ago, you peered into a magic mirror. And that was when you discovered the truth. You realized why your mother hated you. And you realized what those strange dreams really were. This was enough to shake the foundation of your entire identity. You may have a foul mouth, but you're still a good kid. And because you care about others, you're often willing to sacrifice yourself to put them first. When you learned the truth, you took all those painful, unbearable memories and went to sleep with them. Personally, I wanted to respect the choice you made. If sleeping would help you endure the pain, then it was the then I felt it was the right call. I can't read. But I knew it wouldn't truly solve anything. Snow White, sleeping won't heal your wounded heart. And that's why you can never eat anything in your dream. You have serious emotional trauma, and it turned your dream into a nightmare. There was only one way to truly heal your heart, and that was to introduce you to the princess you always longed to meet. Normally this wouldn't have been possible. After all, you were asleep. But she made the impossible possible. Fucking magic. No need to spell it out for me. I can tell. You used the mirror. And my memories of Spacey Arisu. Yep, he guessed it. The same mirror that ruined your life just saved it. I think I understand why I'm still dreaming, even after Spacey saved me. The real me must still be asleep, huh? And at some point, I must have fallen asleep at my dream, too. That's why I couldn't read any new stories. I can understand the logic, at least. But if I'm still dreaming, then I guess you two aren't real, huh? Am I still just looking into the mirror? About that, why don't we step outside, Snow White? It's like trippy as fuck. Aww. What the? There's so many people. How? Because you let me into your heart. Just kidding. Man, I wish. Snow White, you have a lot more memories than you realize. You just don't remember them. You know the world is full of light, full of people. After all, you love to read about it. So how's it feel being outside? Really good. Trust me, the real world is even better. But if I actually wake up, you really will disappear. Yeah, probably. And when you wake up, you'll see the real me. Will you stop loving me? Not possible. I'm crazy about you. I mean, I've yearned to see you all this time. So, like, he looked into a mirror and fell into the dream world, okay, which is where we are now. And then he fell asleep in the dream world and ended up in the nightmare, which is where we were. So, like, this, he's like, but it's not really you. But it really is, because we stepped into the dream world through the magic mirror, which is where we are right now. And then she was talking to him while he was sleeping, and then he conjured up the us that was in his nightmare. I guess, is that what's happening here? But, like, at any rate, it's like, it's not like he's gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, oh, hey, who are you? We're gonna remember this because we went into the mirror too. We're all in the mirror right now. Like, anyway. Oh, I'm crazy about you. I mean, I've yearned to see you all this time. But that's not the same as love. Yeah, I know. I didn't actually fall in love with you until I met you in my dream. Remember what I told you? Love and being in love aren't the same thing. Love is selfless. Yeah, I remember. Love accepts all your flaws and ugly parts as part of a package deal, right? Right. And you promised to stay by my side and love me, dream or no dream. Yep, even after the dream ends, I'll still love you. So you want me to love you back? If possible. You make it sound easy, but it's really not. Yeah, I know. So I won't beg you to. Alright then. Even after the dream is over, I'll stay by your side and fall in love with you all over again. Because I love you. Cool! Oh, I'm hungry. Let's go back and get you some breakfast. Since we're all eating together, I bet it'll taste great. Yeah. You know, Spacey, I've always wanted to eat your home cooking. Let's go back and eat and then get you out of this dream. Oh, it's the wizard. I don't have a voice for him. Well, what did we... I can't... You know, I'm sad because I was like, let me go back to the original ones and see what we did. I know we had a little bit jazzier, but I'm just going to read it kind of normal for now until we figure out what I originally did for him or what I'm going to do. Again, by the time you see this, I'll have already... I don't know if anyone's going to have... No, the first part has not gone up yet of this. I'm trying to get ahead. I was kind of behind, but... So, we'll see. Anyway. They say the apple is the forbidden fruit. And the forbidden fruit is also known as the fruit of knowledge. By eating it, one is said to attain God's knowledge of good and evil. We gotta have a better voice for him, but it's okay. But sometimes, knowing the truth does more harm than good. After eating the forbidden fruit, humanity was cast out of paradise. And so we lost our immortality, and men were given the burden of work. What, you feel sorry for me? You're such an angel. Anyway, that aside, the poisoned apple cursed the prince with nightmares, but with a kiss from the princess, he was saved. Congratulations, little heroine. May you live happily ever after. Thanks, wizard. I can't wait till we get to your realm. Once upon a time in the Looking-Glass world, there lived a peculiar boy. He was slight of build, with skin as white as snow and lips as red as an apple. He was so beautiful, he looked like a prince from a picture book. No one else could possibly compare. Oh, I was like, where'd my thing go? But he was unaware of just how handsome he was. Why? Because he never went into the outside world. The boy lived with his mother in a little cabin in the woods. His mother was a beautiful woman with skin as white as snow, cheeks as red as a rose, and hair as dark as ebony wood. She was a child at heart. She loved flowers, fairy tales, and all things romantic, magical, and sparkly, and her son loved her very much. One day she said to him, "Now listen here. You have to watch the house while I'm gone, understand? And if anyone knocks on the door, don't let them in, no matter what." The boy obeyed his mother, stayed inside, and read books all day long. Frills, lace, and ribbons. A big castle. Pretty dresses. Real life wasn't as fanciful as the picture books, but he was happy living with his mother. One day his mother took him outside with her for the first time. Everything was new and exciting, and everyone he met was very kind to him. He wondered why he received such special treatment, but when he looked in the mirror, he realized that he and his mother looked very different. From there, everything around him changed. His clean house slowly filled with trash, and his beautiful mother steadily grew more and more weary. And as her beauty faded, she came to resent her son. "Now listen here. You're not like all the other kids. You're a precious angel. And that's why you mustn't play outside. The world is filled with wicked wolves, and you can never trust them. So if one of them talks to you, be sure to ignore them. You have to watch the house while I'm gone, understand? And if anyone knocks on the door, don't let them in, no matter what." More than ever, she refused to let her son outside. Meanwhile, the boy continued to obey her and stay home. And yet, whenever she came home from work, she would yell at him. He didn't understand why she was angry at him. He didn't know what had changed her. Eventually, the boy began to have dreams about the outside world. In his dreams, he ran around freely. Then one day, he awoke to find himself outside. He didn't know how he got there. Frightened, he went home. But when he got there, he found his mother's haggard corpse. With no one else to turn to, the boy simply continued to live with her dead body. His favorite treat, apple pie, was sitting on the table, but one bite was enough to make him sick. He was hungry, but he couldn't eat. He was too afraid to eat. Then he sensed someone in the mirror, and when he apprehensively looked over, he found an ugly, grimy boy staring back at him. So he asked the mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, whose reflection do you hold?" At this, the boy in the mirror replied, "It's me." Instantly, the boy realized the truth. He realized why his mother never wanted him to leave home, and why she seemed to reject him whenever she laid eyes on him. It was because he wasn't her real child. Unable to bear it, the boy fled from the house. As he washed himself in the lake, a young man appeared. When he asked the boy for his name, the boy introduced himself as Snow White. The young man, Ryoshi, was very kind to Snow White. Ryoshi was born with unusual looks, and Snow White felt he could relate. Ryoshi explained that he had a younger sister who, like him, looked different from everyone else. When Snow White saw a picture of her, he thought she looked like a princess from a picture book. After a few days, Snow White confessed everything to Ryoshi and bid him farewell. Snow White was planning to travel deep into the looking-glass world and never return. And then he took a bite of his mother's apple pie, collapsed to the floor, never to open his eyes again. More than a decade later, Snow White lived a quiet life as the prince of the looking-glass world, a dream where everything was topsy-turvy. In the dream, his mother loved him, and Ryoshi was there to help him. Now and then he would visit the lake and gaze out at the world under the water, but he had no intention of ever going back. After all, the looking-glass world reflected everything he wanted to see. So, okay, he was like 9 or 10 at the time. Because, like, if we're 19 and he's, like, roughly our age, let's say he's 19, 20, this is a decade later, more than a decade, but, like, whatever. So he was still, like, just a kid, like an actual kid. I mean, which makes more sense than him being, like, a teenager or something. But, like, you know what I mean? Anyway. It was just, like, kind of confusing. You're like, is he a kid? Is he not? Is he, like, I don't know what's happening, but... Okay. He decided he was happier in a world that gave him everything he wanted, even if it was all an illusion. Besides, he knew that nothing good would happen if he returned to the outside world. However, on his way home from the lake one night, he encountered the princess he had seen in his dreams. At first, he was alarmed to see that she had grown up, but as they got to know one another, they discovered the truth about each other. The princess had learned of Snow White through Ryoshi, and so she had manifested in his dream in order to save him. Eventually, she realized that every single person within the looking-glass world was a mirror reflection of Snow White himself, and so the mirror began to crack. The luxurious mansion transformed into a little cabin full of trash, and the beautiful prince was reduced to an ugly, grimy boy. But the princess didn't care one whit, and so she woke him with a kiss. When he opened his eyes, for some reason, he found he was still dressed as a prince. Hastily, he searched for the princess and soon found her happily making breakfast. Then Ryoshi arrived and explained the situation. When Snow White realized he was still dreaming, he feared that perhaps he was still talking to his own reflection, but the princess took him outside and said, "Even after the dream ends, I'll still love you." And so, with a kiss from the princess, the nightmare turned into a sweet dream, and the prince was saved. The end. But, like, not, because we got, like, an after story. But, like, you know, so we got our ending in this part. We'll have to do the little after thing. We can't listen, sorry, can't do that. Copyrighted. Sorry for the wait. Here's your hot fruit punch you ordered. Oh, here's the hot fruit punch. Thanks. Are you sure this is all? There's plenty of other stuff. Nah, it's okay. This is all I want. While I do love apple pie, I only loved it because my mother would make it for me. Likewise, this hot fruit punch was the first thing he ever made for me, remember? So now this is my favorite. But you haven't even tried it yet. I can just tell. End of story. After all, my beloved made it for me. It can taste like puke for all I care. If it tastes like puke, then you better tell me, mister. How else am I supposed to improve? Alright then. If I don't like it, I'll say so. Now feed it to me. Right here? Right here. If you're looking for your brother, he's not around. He may look clueless, but he knows how to take a hint. He's probably outside smoking a cigarette. Besides, what do you care if he sees us? He knows we're dating. Dating? What, you don't want to? I like how now she's stuttering despite the fact that she's like, don't care what you say, gonna follow you home! Like, and now she's like, oh my god, we're dating? Girl! Stop acting modest. Of course I do. Well, what are you waiting for, Spacey? Feed it to me. Say ah. Ah. How is it? Very sweet. Well, yeah, it's fruit punch. And refreshing. Well, yeah, it's fruit punch. You don't like it? You really want to know? Tell me, I'm dying! Well then, why don't you have some too? Huh? Oh god, you're gonna do the kiss and spit into my mouth thing. Why is that a thing? It's so gross. Mwah. It's one thing if it's like you can taste it on someone's tongue or lip. That's different than the hold on, I'm going to take a sip and then I'm going to put it into your mouth. Why is that a thing? It's so gross. It's not sexy, Japan. It's not sexy. Stop it. It's like that we kissed and it was so passionate and then there was a spit trail. That's not sexy either. Stop it. What? Why? It happens too much for me to like not think that it's like a thing. I don't know why. It's just... Oh my god. I really hope he didn't do that. I really hope it's just the taste on your tongue. Like, cause that's fine. That's different. You know, like, fine. But like, sorry, just goes on a tangent. Well, how does it taste? Really sweet. Yeah, it's really good. What's the matter? You're red as a tomato. Do you like my kisses, my prince? Sure I do. Both giving and receiving. Oh, I'm not gonna like... There you go. Aw. Bird, I need you to come over here so I can give you kisses.
I need you to sit here. I have to do acting and I need to give kisses, but it's awkward if I just give kisses to the microphone. So I need you to come over here so I go give you kisses. Give you kisses.
Then it doesn't feel as weird. I'm like, hold on, let me give my bird a kiss. He's over there, but I'm just air kissing him. It's fine. Then better being like reading and being like, oh, I gotta make a kissing noise. It's just easier. It's just less awkward. Yum, yum. Snow White. Oh, God. I am not saying... Hold on. I can't say it in his voice. I can't. I'm trying so hard, but I'm going to laugh hysterically like, yum, yum. Gross. It just sounds so fucking weird. Oh, you made it awkward.
So you can dish it, but you can't take it. Is that it?
I just wasn't expecting it, that's all. Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way, though. Like, yeah, come on. Give me some sugar. Okay, yum, yum. Oh, okay, this is awkward. You made it awkward.
Well, oh, yeah, well, neither was I. Maybe I should work here, too.
What?
Now that I'm free from my prison, I'd like to try new things for a change. Sure, my favorite hobby is reading, but I can do that anytime. Granted, I'm not especially interested in running a cafe, but all those fun stories you told me actually made me a little jealous.
Aw, Snow White.
Oh, but I'm totally useless. I can't cook or clean or do laundry or sew. I've lived my whole life as a little prince. But I'm still gonna try. Sure, maybe I'm clumsy and unskilled, and I might screw up dozens and dozens of times. But I'll just keep trying until I get it right, as many times as it takes. I'm not a baby. I can't just rely on you for every little thing.
I really actually do love this CG because he's actually like not like as lolly boy in this. He's like really pretty in it, and I appreciate this because he doesn't have the sweet, innocent baby face that he normally has. So, anyway.
After all, I'm your prince, and I want to be perfect for you.
And they lived happily ever after. Oh, now let's go check out our CGs. Oh, don't start the thing. Don't start the theme song. Game, bad game. Bad game! Wait a minute. The wizard gets one less! Fuck you, game. I love the wizard. Oh, well, that's true. Never mind. No, he doesn't. Because we have this one, which is her and Alice. I forgot about that. That's like the standard. Okay, so no, they got the same amount. They got this. Okay. I was like, game? Bullshit. I hate it. My favorite's always somehow like the canon boyfriend usually in games gets like the most, and then there's other ones that do, and then it's like my favorites are always like, why they get like 2 less? 1 less is like, fuck you, why is it 1 less? Like, even. It's gotta be even. I don't, and it's weird to me even when they do it, when like, canon boyfriend has 20, and the other guys have like 18, and then that one guy has like 16, and you're like, why? Make it even! I hate it. No, we can't like cute there with her smile. Like, she has the giant saucer derp eyes, but they're not bad. They, like, work for her, and I'm used to it. And, like, I just appreciate that she, you know, isn't, like, she's one of the better drawn ones. You know what I mean? Like, her hair is fucking ridiculous. Like, and she does... How many of these are there? Oh my god, there was like 80 of them. Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, but the one thing okay, so like usually like the MCs have like giant saucer derp eyes and they're kind of stupid looking. She's like actually like, I'm fine with her. The one thing that drives me bonkers though in every single one, I don't understand why they always do this in everything. Their eyelashes are always the same color as their hair. Nobody, I mean, I guess some people have blonde hair, have blonde eyelashes, I guess, but like, maybe it's just because I have dark hair. I have transparent eyelashes, but like, most people's eyelashes are like... I don't think I've ever seen a redheaded person have red eyelashes. Like, is that normal? Like my sister has red hair, but she has like normal colored eyelash. Like, but it's weird to me because I'm always like, their eyelashes should be like not white because it looks weird to me. It's like he's wearing like seriously thick white eyeliner. I just wish they would have made him like a gray color black, just, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. Like, I don't know why. It's a choice. You know, like ours are like, they've got a little bit of black. They're like, they look fleshy toned there, but like, we're supposed to have brown hair, but our hair looks pink to me. I don't know. Like, you know, if a guy has green hair, he's gonna have green eyelashes. Like, why? Why are their eyelashes have to be the same color? Just make them black. Like, that was in a range of emotions, and then he goes to like, all right, I'm resigned to this. That's cute, though. Oh, that's better. Now he's happy. See, like, her eyelashes are kind of like just black, so like... Oh, little baby Snow White, so cute. Oh, now he's happy. Shocked. I do like, though, that some of the CGs, they have, like, 15 versions. You know what I mean? Instead of, like, here's the CG. It's got, like, different facial expressions. I mean, it's the same CG. They just changed the face. But it's still, like, nice. You know what I mean? This is her million times embarrassed face. That one's actually really cute. And then our little, like, they lived happily ever after. Oh, okay. Which one's, like... Well, like... I don't know which one, like... I mean, maybe our little last one. I kind of do like this one. We gotta get a better expression on her face. There you go. Now they're both smirking. That's pretty. We'll end there. But anyway... So that was Snow White's route. We're going to do all of the bad endings. So there's like the normal bad ending, and then there's like 7 other bad. There's like 6. There's 6. So some of them are going to be short because they're going to be like the wizard bad endings where he comes in and he's like, ah ha ha, you done fucked up. And they're like individual choices, like one choice and we're done, and then we have to keep making it multiple times. I don't know, but anyway, we'll use the guide for that again. But I'm going to wrap this part up here. We will do all the bad endings in the next part. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.